everybody, it's Frank Bernardo. We are going to do a training class right now on how to recruit 100 agents a year. And the reason I'm doing this is because I noticed that with, in the Keller Williams world, the most offices are under the average 10 per month. And over the last 10 years, I've been able to recruit on average 100 agents a year. And I've used 3 to 4 different strategies that are extremely powerful and helpful, and that have helped me do it consistently, regardless of what the market is doing. Sorry about the hat today. My hair is out of control, so we're doing a hat. I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to get into this. I did a live version of this, but I actually didn't think it was very good, so I'm re-recording it, and I'm going to send this out to everybody, even the people that were on it before, so everybody's going to get an opportunity to check this out. Let me share my screen. Boom, bam. Okay, so I have some slides set up here, but I kind of did a whole slide presentation, but then I didn't like it. And so I'm just going to go through where I came from, how I got started, and then I'm going to get into the strategies. I don't want this to be a whole long training thing. I just want to get in, get out, make sure that it's everything that you need to help you with your recruiting efforts. So my journey to be a team leader and to be an OP and to be, recruiting as many people as I have is not the type of story you think it would be. I actually grew up in Las Vegas. I was a police officer in Las Vegas. I actually started in the military. As a kid, I owned small businesses as I was younger, and then I got into the military. I was an Army combat military police officer for a number of years, and then I became a police officer in Las Vegas, and I did that until 2000. And in 2000, I moved to Vegas. I moved to Los Angeles with my wife. We got married in 1999. We moved in 2000. I actually tested for LAPD and walked away from the testing because with my personality, I don't think it was the best idea for me to start a family being a police officer. I'm a little proactive and a little aggressive and just not good planning on my part. So I tried to figure out my career, and I did a lot of little different things before. In 2003, I became a real estate agent. I actually failed my first exam. So when I tell you, if you can do this, anybody can do this, I'm not joking around. So I actually failed my first exam, then got my license in 2003. I was one of the first agents ever recruited by Keller Williams in my area. I was rookie of the year. I did something like $165,000 in my first 6 months as a real estate agent. I actually helped recruit the next rookie of the year, and that person did $125,000 in their first 12 months. And that became the beginning of my journey on how to help rookies and new agents achieve 6 figures in their first 6 to 12 months. I was very drawn to recruiting in the very beginning. I saw the KW culture. I love the KW culture. And my first real, besides the rookie of the year, my first real recruiting effort was when I did a deal with this other agent at another office. He worked for this big name company, and he worked for a big name rainmaker. And the guy's philosophy was like, you only work a half a day when you work with me. And to him, half a day was 12 hours because full day is 24 hours. And so he was on a terrible split, and I did this deal with him, and I ended up just talking to him. He was actually a former pro baseball player, turned realtor, and I ended up just saying, hey, this is the deal. I'm going to give you buyers because I was doing really well in my first 12 months. And I ended up recruiting him to my team to be my buyer agent. And then I ended up recruiting a handful of people in my first year just as an agent, just me spewing the way you're not supposed to do it, Keller Williams information to people. But it hooked me. It hooked me to be a recruiter. The thing is, every time I became a part of an office or moved around, I was always told how I wouldn't be able to recruit, and I've proved everybody wrong. And so as a real estate agent, I recruited a bunch of people. I was recruited to be an ATL of an office. And I didn't realize at the time that the only reason they wanted me was because of the relationship that I developed over the years that I've been in real estate. And so I took an ATL position because I thought it was cool. I didn't really know what it meant. but basically it was me getting in contact with people for the team leader. And so what ended up happening, I ended up actually recruiting people for them. And, you know, he didn't really have to do a lot of work. He took all the credit for sure. There was an office that was about an hour away from where my office was. And I had a relationship with the person of that office, and they reached out to me, and I just saw it as an opportunity to help this little independent office grow. And I actually recruited an office an hour away from us. They closed their office down there. They moved everybody to our location, and it was like 6 or 7 people in this little independent office. I ended up recruiting a couple $20 million producers. I think I got a bold ticket for doing that. I didn't realize how valuable it was, and I realized I could have got more than the bold ticket. Bold changed my life, by the way. So that specific bold actually changed my life. So that was really, really cool. I was just I was doing that until I got the opportunity to be a natural team leader in 2016. And in 2016, I became the team leader. And when I joined, like I said before, every office I joined, I was told all these reasons why you can't recruit. The market's terrible. The ownership is terrible. We've recruited everybody. Nobody likes us. The parking is terrible. That's the best one that I've got. The parking is terrible. You won't be able to recruit anybody. The world is against us. Like, there's all of these things. And I've been able to figure out how to recruit through all of it. And the short answer is you have to show massive amounts of value. And the really cool thing is with KW, and I mean, you could really do it with any office. So like if you're with Real or EXP or wherever, whoever's watching this, you can really show value with any company. Keller Williams has a specific value proposition because they're largest, they have the best training, like they have all of these different things. And so all you have to do is package that up properly for the person you're talking to, so it's presented in a way that they're like, oh, holy crap, that actually benefits me. So I have actually broken every recruiting record to date in any office that I've been in. So I started in 2016. My first full year as a team leader, I recruited 111 agents. So when I was recruited by the top recruiter in this region. He was crushing everybody. And I thought this guy was going to teach me all these things. Like, I'm going to learn all these recruiting things and I'm going to be awesome. He taught me nothing. Like, he didn't sit me down and be like, hey, this is how I do things. Like, I never learned how this guy recruited. I didn't know how he did it. He crushed it though. So what I did is I actually modeled my recruiting appointment after a listing appointment. So I can get in that a little bit later. Just to kind of keep going on who I am here. I've constantly recruited over 100 agents a year for the last 10 years on average. I've always been in the top 3 gross, top 3 net of any region I've been in. My lowest recruiting year ever was 84. My highest recruiting year ever was 147. In 2023, I received the number 2 gross award and the number 2 net award for recruiting in Los Angeles. I was also the number 1 sponsor for all the agents in Los Angeles, which that's something like out of 4,000 agents. Up until a couple of months ago, I ran the number 1 team in the Keller Williams Westside office with my wife. We were number 3 in the region. I was also the managing director OP of the Bakersfield Market Center. So I ran 2 different offices, and both of them I turned around the recruiting with help from my team lead, Bakersfield, and with no help, just myself in the Westside office. I broke every recruiting record in all the offices that I've worked with. So if you have a recruiting block and you're having issues with the recruiting, there is no excuse for not being able to recruit. You have all the tools and all the value. There are so many agents out there that you can recruit. And when I say I recruit on average, this is not mergers and acquisitions. This is not mergers and acquisitions. This is not recruiting other Keller Williams offices, because I know there's team leaders out there that have massive amounts of numbers because they've merged other offices with theirs. I don't think I've ever done that. Well, I'm going to give you definitely 2 things that work here at the end. I'm going to give you 4 things that I've done personally that have helped me and things that I'm doing right now. I've actually stepped away from my recruiting role and my team leader role and my OP role because I created a company called Recruiting Boss. I'm not going to sell you on Recruiting Boss. I will give you some brief information about it. But if you want to talk to me about Recruiting Boss, there will be a link somewhere here where you can contact me. I'll give you my cell phone number and you can just call and ask me about it. But I'm not going to try to sell you the program here. My number is 818-263-7265. Just shoot me a text message. So I've been very drawn to the recruiting culture of Keller Williams. It's just something that I gravitated to. When I grew my team to 5 people, when I first started in real estate, that's when I realized the secret to sales, and also which is the secret to real estate recruiting. So before I became a team leader in 2016, I actually went through a very tough time because I didn't know what failure was. I started as a rookie of the year. I built my team up. We did something like $500,000. I had 5 people on my team. Things were amazing. And between 2008 and 2011, 2 crazy things happened. The market tanked and my marriage tanked. I ended up getting a divorce. I had 3 kids. It was crazy. And the way I look at this is like we all have something bad that's happened to us. We all have a sad story. And if anybody that looks like you has ever been successful, you can figure it out. And so it took me time, but I ended up figuring it out. So I was offered the position as ATL. I did all of that. And then 2016, I got the TL role in the Santa Clarita area, and I recruited 111 agents my first year. I modeled it from a listing appointment. So like when you walk into a house, the first thing you do is typically, at least when I did listing appointments, I did very well as a listing agent. I would say, hey, let me see the house. Like, show me the house. Like, show me what you're working with. And I realized that when a recruit came in to meet with me, I was told by somebody to do the power walk at the end. I never understood that because you're just walking them out the door. You're not closing them. So I think I was missing something there. So what I did is that when an agent came in, I said, hey, how's it going? I'm Frank. Have you ever been here before? And I'd always ask them if they've ever been here before, because that's going to give me insight. And I don't want to just assume that they've never seen this place. They may have seen the place before. I don't know. So I'd be like, hey, do you want to, let me give you a tour and show you what we got here. And so what I would do is I would go walk through the office and I would give a tour and I would basically wing it, because I wouldn't care if people would ask, oh, are you joining us? Oh, are you going to get recruited? Blah, blah. Let my team do that. I don't care. I'm fine. I never prepped anybody. I would point out all the really cool things that my office had. Like one office had a ping pong table. We had a pool table. So what I did is I had a microphone that I used for podcasting, and I had a couple, and I didn't need an extra one. And I went into one of our booths that we had, and I put the microphone in there. You could just plug it into your computer, but I'm like, hey, we have a podcast room. And everybody's like, oh my God, it's really cool. Like, I don't think anybody ever used it, but it was cool, and it kind of sold the office. And so I'd walk around, I'd say all the cool things about the office. I'd introduce them to the MCA, I'd introduce them to any leadership that was in the office. And then I'd let people talk, because if they start trying to recruit everybody, when somebody says, oh, are you going to join us? I'm going to get a feeling right there of where this person is at. I've had people say, absolutely, I'm excited, I'm ready to go. So that actually showed me that I have less work to do on closing them, because they're already halfway there. Typically when I went into a recruiting appointment, I looked at it as it's my recruit to lose. And I closed on average somewhere between 80 to 90% of the time people sat in front of me. So, so this is going to be a haphazard presentation, because I really didn't want to get into super crazy details and make this like a funnel system or whatever, because it's really not like that. But the mindset aspect of it is really, really important, because I cannot tell you how many times I have dealt with team leaders. I was a MAPS coach for a short period of time. I was a team leader, and the team leaders would say all of these reasons on why they can't recruit, why they don't have time. Time is your number one asset in life, and you need to understand that time is important. And to get past any obstacles that you have, it's your mindset. You have to know you can do it. You have to believe you can do it. The gotta minutes and the office, like politics and all the crazy things that go in the office, that is secondary to recruiting if you want your office to grow, period. You have to believe in you before anybody else can. You can't be like, well, I wish my OP believed in me. I wish my family believed in me. I wish my friends believed in me. No, none of them matter. The only thing that matters is you have to believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself and you go for it, then you can crush it. I learned through trial and error, the number one thing to help my recruiting efforts is you have to build a school, and you have to have a strong school. Now, I know Keller Williams has a K-score. K-score is fantastic if you have the resources and the time and the systems put together. If you have all that put together, that's great. I have seen some K-score situations to where they get so many people in, but nobody has any skin in the game. So it's quote unquote free. They don't charge them anything. It's a great idea, but I don't see a lot of people coming out the end. So I was never able to dive deep into the K-score program because I did not have the resources. My ownership group did not run my office very well. And I had a staff of one who was mid, and then I had half an MCA that ran my other market center and this market center, and she was remote. So that's a struggle. I did not have the $40,000 to $60,000 a year to hire somebody to run K-score. So what I did is I ended up building a relationship with a real estate school. It was a very, very Keller Williams-esque real estate school. And what they did is they came in. I was able to start career nights. So if you don't have career nights going, you should absolutely 100% have career nights going. That is going to feed your market center. But I had a specific system, and I'll tell you what that system is. So I built a school, and the school had a specific follow-up program. So what I would suggest, if you do not have K-score running at a high level, I would get a school to either replace or complement the K-score program. And what I would do with this school is this school would come in, I would funnel all of my school leads that I would get, because I got a ton of school leads, like literally like 30 a month. And I would funnel them to the school. The school, once I got the lead to come in, I'd give it to the school. I could literally forget about it, because the school would do all the follow-up, get them into the classes. Once they passed their classes, I would get notified. I would message them, congratulations on passing your classes. And then I would get notified when they signed up for their state test. I would message them, hey, congratulations, let me know when you pass your state test. Here's my cell phone number. And then I would get notified when they passed their exam. And then I would be like, hey, let's meet. And so the school would be doing all of this follow-up that I did not have to do. I could literally forget about it, and it would be in their hands. And that was a game changer for me. So with the whole mindset thing, the strategy is follow-up. The follow-up, and you have to get leads from somewhere. So when it comes to leads, there's lots of different ways to get leads. The thing that separated me from everywhere else is that time is what made me different from others. When we're young, we trade time for money, and as we get older, we trade money for time. And so I figured that, if I'm going to be successful and I'm going to show people I'm successful, I'm going to have to out-recruit literally everybody. The only person I was never able to out-recruit was Beverly Hills, because they have a Beverly Hills address. He did something like 250 agents a year. And I was in actually one of the toughest recruiting offices that everybody told me, everybody before me only recruited like 90 agents on average a year. I ended up breaking that 2 years in a row, breaking that record my first year there, and then my second year record I broke. So I would just basically time block my day, my lead gen time, and I would do it in the morning, because I realized when I followed up with my leads in the afternoon, like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, they would get back to me at like 6, 7 o'clock at night sometimes. And like, I'm at home sitting on the couch with my wife, and I'm returning text messages because I don't ignore them. If they came in at 7 o'clock, I'd respond. My wife was like, who are you talking to? I'm like, it's a recruit. I'm trying to get them to the office. So always do your recruiting in the morning. That is the best time. I had a texting, email, phone call system. I would not pick up the phone to call my leads, because that just didn't work out the best. I did have a lead funnel system to where I created over a 7-year period of time where I was able to get between 30 and 100 recruiting leads a month with my system. That's the Recruiting Boss system. Again, I'm not going to try to sell you on this, but I would have leads come in every day, and then I would create this pipeline. And I literally, by the time I left my position, I had thousands of leads that I would always just be able to go in and fish in and get people. So we're getting into leads. You have to believe in it first. No one is smarter than you. They're only different experiences. So this is important. Like, if you think other people are smarter than you, if you think mega agents are smarter than you, if you think OPs or other team leaders are smarter than you, that you're just wrong. Like you're not, nobody's smarter than you. Everybody just has different experiences that shape them who they are. So get your mind right. That is probably the number one thing that I can help you with here. So my number one lead strategy was my online recruiting system. I would get between 30 and 100, and sometimes 125, 130 leads per month, and that's because I'm in the LA area. But I would constantly get recruiting leads every month, and that basically made sure that I had no lulls in my recruiting. And I would recruit between 8 to 10 every month pretty consistently. I would double down. Like right now, I'm recording this, it's December. I would double down in November, December, and I would typically have a 20 gross month in February. So I always want to break records. So like there would be monthly recruiting records, like who's recruited the most in 1 month, and I'd always go after that record. And so multiple times I've recruited over 20 people. I think in one of my offices I recruited 47 because I recruited an independent. And then my first month in my West Side office, I recruited over 20 agents. And that's because I've never stopped recruiting. I double down. And just like my real estate business, I always double down November and December. I would usually always be the person in the office working. Nobody else was working. And so like I would dump all this money into my real estate business and all this time. And what would happen is that it would all start coming back to me in January and February. And that's exactly what happens with recruiting. So my recruiting lead situation is probably my number one because it always gives me fresh recruits every day. These are recruits that will either want to get a real estate license, they're in the process of getting a real estate license, or they're already licensed and they're a producer, they're trying to figure it out. There's so many different options, but I would create a pipeline for myself with, 50 to 100 recruits every month. And so over, a year time, I have thousands of people. So that's number one. Let me see, what do I have here? So leads, relationships, and then follow-up. So this is really important. Relationships are everything. So if you're like, so with my recruiting system, the number one question I get is, will I get an R2 recruit in your recruiting system? I mean, yes, you will, but I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh yeah, they're all going to be R2s. They're all going to be massive producers, because that's just not the case. Last year, 144,000 agents moved offices. Most of them were not producing agents. They were not top producing agents. They were lower producing agents. Most of the cappers and people that are doing well are not going to just randomly move. You're not going to do a cold call and be like, hey, we're better, come over here. Typically, those require relationships. You have to have a relationship with people, and you have to nurture that relationship. And so nurturing that relationship takes time. So like, there's ways to do that. You can call co-bros. And you can go to open houses. I have a thing that I'm going to link in here. It's on my YouTube channel, is how to recruit your top 25 dream recruits. Like the people that you think, like, let's say you have a $100 million producer in your area and you're just like, that guy, I do not know how to recruit that guy. It's going to give you the idea of how to do that, because you have to develop a relationship. I have relationships built with people, producing agents, that if I move, they're moving. Just because I have that connection with them. I had a guy that when I moved from my West Side office to the Santa Monica office, I called him up. I said, hey, man, I just want to let you know I'm stepping out of the team leader role. I'm not going to be the team leader anymore. The team leader over at Santa Monica is super cool. He knows what he's doing. He's a very good guy. I'm just going to move my license over there, and I'm going to keep doing the recruiting boss thing. He was like, okay, let me call him because I'm moving. He's like, I just want to follow you. Like, unless you're tired of being followed. That's what he said. Unless you're tired of being followed. I go, no, man, I'm cool. But, there's a protocol and you got to do it the right way. And so he actually did it the right way. He was really cool. And he followed me. And I had a number of people that did that. But it's all relationship based. So if you want those cappers and those half cappers, because let's be honest, half cappers act like cappers. They think they're cappers. But that's fine. Just treat them like cappers. Because your goal, like most half cappers are like 3 to 4 deals away from being a capper. Let's be honest, at least in my market. So relationships are everything. And then after that, with the leads, like let's say you have a bunch of relationships and you have recruiting leads coming in, the follow-up is almost essential. The reason most agents are not doing the business that they want to do, or any business, is that their follow-up sucks. The most team leaders are not recruiting the way they're supposed to be recruiting because their follow-up sucks. So that's it. I don't want to, hyperventilate on this any more than I need to. But I want to get into the number one thing that is probably the underlying strategy that most people don't even realize how powerful it is. And most team leaders that I see a lot, because I know a lot of you, your Facebook game is weak. It's just super weak. It just is. So social media and having an abundant pipeline of leads consistently coming in, if you don't have that, you need to find a way on how to get it. So there's different ways that you can use Facebook strategy. You literally have a platform to where you can advertise for free, just like a big box brand, just like any major brand that's out there. There's posting, there's commenting, there's sharing, there's private messages, and there's custom lists. I'm going to go through all of these really quick, but let me explain something to you. And you can take this to your agents, because this is what I would tell my agents, is that stop running 60-minute commercials. What I mean by that is that do you ever subscribe or jump on the couch to watch an hour-long Ozempic commercial, or an hour-long State Farm commercial, or an hour-long Lexus commercial? Honestly, do you do that? You're like, oh my God, Ozempic's on tonight. Let's go watch Ozempic. No, you're like, Yellowstone's on tonight. You turn on Yellowstone and there's like 10, 30-second Ozempic commercials, 10, 30-second State Farm commercials, 10, 30-second Lexus commercials. I picked those because those are the most advertised commercials out there. So my point is that we are always doing commercials and we're not doing the stuff that people want to see. I'll give you an example. Just listed, just sold. Like, I sell real estate. Like, just if you go to a lot of top producing agents, like, they're just listed, just sold, open house, just listed, just sold, open house. Like, there's all this I'm a real estate agent stuff, but people don't want to see that. The posting is just, it's too much. So there's other things to do. First of all, showing what your day-to-day life is and sharing things within your day-to-day life is really important, because it makes you relatable. And people want to be relatable. People want to know who you are. And you do that through videos, which is really easy to do on social media now. But the number one thing is, if you want to get in relationships with other agents, you got to go like their stuff, comment on their stuff, interact with them like you're in a room with them. Like, social media is literally a big room, and you could go interact and have conversations with them. It's really a great opportunity that most people miss. Share other agents' stuff. Like, go to your agents, your top agents, and start sharing their stuff to your feed. Go to agents that are not with you, that you want to create a relationship with, and say, this is an amazing listing. I'm going to share this to my network, or share it to your network and say, hey, so-and-so just got this amazing listing. His open house is Thursday. You should probably go check it out. Like, that's really cool. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. And let me just tell you this. Most people don't do things because they're afraid of what other people think. And if you can get out of that in your head, you'll change your game in everything you do. Private messaging. I tell my agents, like, listen, you can door knock Facebook. Like, if you could go door knocking and see a little green light above a house to show that somebody was home, how cool is that? Like, that's just what Facebook private messaging is. And when you private message a top producer, you private message a producing agent, don't try to recruit them. Try to get into a relationship with them. Ask them questions. Ask them, like, hey, I have some family coming in. I know that you do a lot of blah, blah, blah. What's the best restaurant in your part of town? Like, ask them questions. Ask them about the market. Compliment them. Say nice things about them. Do everything but recruit, because when you do everything but recruit, you're actually recruiting. You're actually recruiting when you're connecting with them and developing a relationship with them. People don't want to be recruited, but they will want to work with friends. So if you connect with somebody and they're like, man, it'd be really cool to work with you. I've had people say that to me. I didn't even realize what I was doing. I'm like, well, come on over, right? So private messaging is really important. Custom lists. None of y'all probably use custom lists. Let me show you. I'm going to show you what custom lists look like. All right, so this is my Facebook feed. So this is, if you look on your Facebook feed just in regular, you have your name up here, friends, professional dashboard, blah, 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 right? So you click on friends, you go to custom lists because now all this stuff is going to pop up on the right side. It's going to have custom lists. And then you're going to have all your custom lists here. I threw up a couple here just for fun. My high school, awesome agents that I think are awesome that I'm trying to recruit. What this does is it puts them in their own timeline. It creates a timeline just for those people. So you can see what those people are doing and you can comment and like, and it puts it into like this nice little bubble for you. I don't know what restricted is. Facebook creates some of these on its own. So I don't know what this is, but I have my sphere down here. And then at the bottom, has create a list. So you're going to create a list, create the list, call it whatever you want to call it. Just as long as you know what it is, nobody's going to see this list. Nobody's going to see the name of what this list is called. And then I called it super agents. And then what you can do is like, Kelly was on the other training. She's like, oh, my name's right there. So you're going to be able to search for people to put in this list. So you have to be friends with them. And so you go through and you start check marking everybody and you put them into this list. They will not know that they're in this list. And you put them in this list, and now you're going to be able to add and remove people from this list as you see fit. You're going to be able to go to this list and see all the things that these people are doing, like, comment, and share, and do all the things. Nobody's going to know about it. It's going to be like the regular Facebook. So that is a massive strategy, right? So if you can do that, it's going to be really, 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 really cool. So getting leads with Recruiting Boss was one of my big ones. Getting Facebook lists and organizing it and interacting and having conversations with people on Facebook is really, really huge. So now I'm going to give you probably, in my opinion, the most powerful one that honestly nobody's doing. Nobody's doing it. If you're doing it, message me. Let me know you're doing it. I would love to see what you're doing and how you're doing it, because my last office, I couldn't get my staff to do it. And that's a whole different conversation. That's a whole other webinar. But I'm going to tell you how I figured this out. So Rory Vaden wrote a book. I think it's Take the Stairs or something. But he was at a Keller Williams CEO Summit event, and I ended up having an opportunity to talk to him. And Rory Vaden talked to me, and he told me the number one way to get people to do business with you is the same number one reason that realtors could use, which they don't do very well either, could use to get people to do business with them. And if team leaders started doing this, I'm telling you, it's going to change the game. And that is, you ready? Testimonials. So now you get testimonials from people to say how, because let's say you go into an office that is oversaturated, or somebody told you it was oversaturated, or they're not happy, or there's all these issues, right? So if you go in, you can just start bombing testimonials. So like, let's say you're a small office, you have 100 agents. So first of all, get your ALC on board and get testimonials from your ALC. Why does your ALC love the office? Why do certain people love the office? Why does your staff love the office? You do a video testimonial. You get that video testimonial, you transcribe it, and you get a written testimonial, and then you use snippets of the testimonial to throw out there on social media. You create it on Facebook, you create it on Yelp, you create it on Google, you put it everywhere, ad nauseum, because we all love testimonials. Like, when you go to a restaurant, you're like, who went to Dama? Is it good? What do you think? There's restaurants my wife will not go to because other people said it was terrible. She won't even try it for herself. I'm like, come on, let's do our own opinion. She's like, no, I'm not going to that. So testimonials are very, very, very massive. We're not doing them. Video testimonials are amazing. Written testimonials are amazing. But let me give you also a pro tip here. If you do not have a Yelp page, get a Yelp page for your office, because this is what will happen if you don't have a Yelp page. What you don't want to have happen is you don't create your own Yelp page, you don't claim your own Yelp page, and then somebody puts a testimonial and creates your Yelp page for you and puts a negative testimonial, and it's the first testimonial, which I have found in some cases, it's like an act of God to get removed if it's inaccurate. But what if it is accurate? What if one of your agents made a mistake or something happened and now you have this really bad review? It's the first review everybody sees. So if you go and create your Yelp page first and you start populating it, and then somebody throws a negative comment in there, you just address it as a leader and a professional. And then most of the time that person is going to look stupid or especially if they were mean. I've had people be like, oh, wow, that was a really mean thing to say. And then the person addresses it properly and it turns into the other person looking bad and the leader looking like fantastic. When I took over an office, the last office I was a part of, I could not get the page back from whoever claimed it. And there was a whole bunch of negative stuff on there. And some of it was crazy and it was really hard to fix. So every office should have like If I Die book, which has all the username and passwords of everything that's in there. And you should have that. And you should have a Yelp account. And your Yelp account should have massive amounts of testimonials. I had this one office that I would recruit against, a little mom and pop office. And he did something amazing. He would recruit somebody. And then when he recruited somebody, he would have them write a testimonial on the spot. And he basically marketed himself as the most positive 5-star reviews of any real estate office in the area, which he did, but he was getting them to review them before they actually had a chance to be a part of the office. And some people didn't like that, but you can do that as well or something similar. ALC ownership, like everybody should be on board with this. This is an amazing strategy and it could blow up your office. Do a class on how to get 100 testimonials, right? So that is definitely a way to do this. So you do a class on 100, like get like 50 people in the room to do a class on how to get 100 testimonials, and then everybody gives everybody reviews. Like that's just a really cool way to do it. And when everybody gives everybody reviews, they give the office reviews. So that's the way to do it. So co-brokes, that is a really important strategy. Facebook is a really important strategy. Testimonials is an amazing strategy. And then recruiting boss, like if you want to get 30 to 100 recruiting leads per month, I can tell you how to do that. You can go to recruitingboss.com and click on get a demo, and we can set up to get a demo. That's probably the best way. Other than that, I'm not going to sell you anything about this. It's affordable and there's no contract, just saying. So any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My number is 818-263-7265. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was positive for you. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And I hope you go out and you start recruiting everything and you start crushing it.